Our topic, which will be a series of 4 classes, is very interesting and very important. The title is Body and a Soul, the interaction between the body and the soul, and what we will try to do is to understand, according to the sources in the all levels in the Torah, in the Pardes, in the Pshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod, the simple, the hint, the demand, and the secret, which is the Kabbalah, what information we have about the body and the soul, the interaction between them, each one of them by itself, and when they combine together. So I'll just read for you what was put over here, the question, the series of questions that we'll try to address during those 4 classes. What do we know about the soul before we are born, before it entered this world? What are the powers that there is, that the soul possessed? Why would God put together 2 opposite forces to one entity? And we will explain why body and soul are 2 complete opposite entities. What happened to the soul when after death? And what is the purpose of all of this and where all of this going? So we will have to introduce 2 notions that we'll talk about them. I think even in the first lecture, and those are this world and the world to come. What is the meaning of this? What is this world and what is the world to come? And it needs clarification because many people are really confused about this. Okay, so we'll start from the simple level, going deeper. The first thing are the verses that we all know, the description in the beginning of the Torah about how Hashem created man. So the pasuk says the following: "Vayitzer Hashem Elokim et ha'adam afar min ha'adama, vayipach be'apav nishmat chaim, vayi ha'adam lenefesh chaya." This is a quote from the Torah. To translate it, when Hashem created, formed the man dust from the ground. So the dust from the ground is the material that from it Hashem created or made the body of the human being. But to this physical, completely physical thing, God added something that the Torah called nishmat chayim, a soul of life. A soul of life. Vayi adam lenefesh chaya, and this is a human being. So Adam, human being, is a combination of 2 things: physical, which is the body, spiritual or non-physical, which is the neshama, the soul. What do we know about them? So what we technically know about the body, that it's very sophisticated physical machine. With all the technology that we have today and all the knowledge that we have today, no one could start to dream even about creating something so amazing like the body. All the machine that we know has in them, let's say, I'll give you just an example to sense it. Space shuttle, which is very sophisticated machine, right? Even an airplane. How much time and resources was needed in order to make such machines? A lot of wisdom, a lot of money, a lot of knowledge. All the wisdom that you have in, let's say, the navigations in an airplane is in every mosquito. Think as a mosquito as an airplane, but it's much more sophisticated than any airplane because it's fly and land without any pilot, right? It's even fueling itself. And this is a little mosquito, and actually it's every little creature. Think about the bigger creatures. So no one could create a mosquito. It's too small for being an airplane. And it works, and there are billions of them. Amazing. the gray cells in the brain, you know, we're trying to understand it. And the brain is just in the beginning of understanding how things functioning in the brain, which is one organ. So the body of a human being is an amazing, amazing system. We know about it a little bit. Physicians try to learn how and what good and not good for the body. And every day there is an opposite research about what good to eat and what to do. You know, we're still learning how it works. This is the body. We have no clue what is a soul. No laboratory could analyze or realize what is the soul, what's the essence of it, how it's functioning, what's good for it, what's not good for it. But the Torah described to us, Hashem, the Creator, described to us that there is such a thing. And it's a very important part of ourselves, at least 50%. If we do not know about it, and we know a little bit about our body, so the most of what people could get out of life is 50%. Because no one knows neshama is, and because we do not know, we just ignore it. So we just live our life technically, physically, and it's very sad because, you know, we have a potential. You know, many people, in the good case, relate to 50% of it. So it's very, very important to understand what is a soul, what we could know about the soul, and actually we could know nothing if the Creator will not reveal to us what is it. And He did. And it's in the Torah. And we were trying to learn what would Torah tell us about the neshama. What is the soul? Now, okay, so those are the two things, the basic things that we have to try to understand. Body, soul, what is this? What each one of them, and how, what is the combination of them to make them together, because they are two different, complete, opposite entities. And God put them together and create a human being. And a human being is not just his body or not just the soul, but both. So the art of life is to manage both in harmony. This is the art of life. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, another thing that I assume everyone knows, that after God created Adam and Chava, He put them in Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden, and He gave them a commandment. You could eat from all the trees, but not from this particular one. And if, that's what God told them, if you will eat from this particular tree, the tree of knowledge to differentiate between good and evil, if you will do that, God warned them in advance, you're going to die. And this is very important to understand this. Death today seems like part of the system. Has to be. Not true. When God created Adam and put this together, the body and the soul, He didn't create this in order to kill it. Death was not part of plan A. Theoretically, if Adam and Chava was listening to God and not eating from Etz Hadat Tovara, from the tree that forbid them to eat from, they will live forever. Death was created as a potential option, and Adam bring this on himself when he disgraced or went and did an act against what Hashem told him. And Hashem told him in advance, that's going to happen. So theoretically, if Adam was not listening to the Nachash and listened to Hashem, those two, body and soul, will be existing forever. Just a minute. As it's going to happen in the future. And this is actually, I'm going to just throw something from what we're going to discuss later. This is actually what Olam Haba is. Olam Haba, the world to come, is going back to the place before the sin, the first sin, and those two, body and soul and the body, will be together in the world to come forever. But because of the sin, there is plan B. The plan B made this option of death, and we'll have to explain what death is because people do not understand what death is. People think death is this is it, final. And this is not true. Death is only a station in the journey. There is something else, I assume everyone knows here, one of the 13 principles of Judaism is Tchias HaMesim. I don't like this translation because it sounds to me too Christian. The resurrections of the dead. Tchiyat HaMeitim. The meaning of this, just literally to understand, that a person who lived in this world, let's say 80, 90, 120 years, and passed away, and the body went to the grave, the body decayed, after a while nothing was left from the body, almost. At the end of days, which is very close, we are now very close to those times that the prophet says this thing gonna happen, the body will get out and rebuild from the grave, and the soul that used to be in it will go into it again. And they together, if they will be merited, it depends on a few things, we'll talk about this a little bit in this series, they will be together forever. Forever. This is the meaning of Tchiyat HaMeitim. But this will be in different dimension of the reality, which is the world to come. So the world to come is for the body and the soul. It's not just for the soul. And this is one of the things that we have to clarify during this learning. Yeah, what do you want to say before? What is this?
You said Hashem warned Adam that
if you will eat, you will
right,
die.
right. That he didn't know what death was because there was no death.
Has to be that he understood it.
That he understood.
Because if not, what's the point to tell him?
Okay.
So he knew it theoretically. You know, he knew. Adam was very smart. Just let me again give you, how do you say, hamchasha? Lamchish?
A sense, a taste.
Concrete, to concretize.
Yeah, make you, you know, we have a brain, I mean, I hope. Yeah, we have ability to think, we have a brain. So our brain is just a copy of the original. The original was Adam, and Hashem created his brain himself. It's not a copy, it's the original. So take all the wisdom that people has in the world, the smartest people, they are just copy of what the original was. So he was smart. So you do not have to know things by experiencing it. You could know things theoretically, right? But for sure he knew. Because if not, what is the warning? What is the warning? And what's the command? He for sure understood it theoretically. Okay, yeah.
So where's reincarnation coming?
That will be part of the thing that I want to discuss, but later in the series. This is more, I mean, you know, let's build it in the right way. First make the basics and then go to the compartments. Okay. Now, what happened after here I'm going to give you a lot of very important information that, again, many people either heard some of it, but they're confused about it because they do not know exactly how it falls. We'll try to make it clearer. After there is such a thing called death, meaning after the sin, what happened? So the body and the soul separated in the death. The body goes to the ground, and again you could follow. It's not pleasant, but you could follow what happened to it, right? After years, after decades, basically it's going to decay. But even if when it's going to decay, there is one bone that will never destroy it. This is it's called Etzem Haluz. Luz, that's the name of it. Lamed Vav Zayin in Hebrew. Etzem Haluz. And it's somehow in the spine. Okay? And why it's important to understand it. Again, it's mentioned in the Medrash. The Medrash was written 1700 years ago. Right? What the Medrash says, that this bone, from this little bone, the entire body, the original body, will be rebuilt at the time of Tchiyat HaMeitim. Right? For years, it was, okay, someone who really believed in it, fine, you could believe in it. Doesn't make any sense, but if you want to believe, believe. Until 70, 80 years ago. What happened 70, 80 years ago? The DNA. Then by research, physical, technical research, it was a great, amazing thing. That there is something called DNA, which is the entire information that for every little thing in the body is written in every cell of the human being. Meaning in the edge of your hair, one hair. The entire information to rebuild the entire body, this particular body. Then a few years later was another thing, the cloning, right? They took one of those cells and they made something identical to the original. Remember the dolly? The shape of the dolly? Exactly look the same, exactly. But this is just in the last 100 years. We knew it 4 years before. And by the way, everything that's written in Chazal that doesn't make any sense, it takes time for people to realize this. So they're going to discover it in the laboratories later on. We know it now. We know it now. We believe in it not because we are stupid or naive, because we know that we got the Torah from the Creator who created us. No one knows better than Him. And if the information is clear, is authentic, we have it. We understand it. No, we do not understand everything. It's because our limits, not because it's not true. One day we will know. Anyways, so there is such a thing. The body goes, that's what happened to the body. And that is interested by itself, how the body going to be rebuild. But what happened to the neshama, to the soul, when it separated the body? And here's very, very important pieces of information. First, be aware that we do not see our neshama even when it's here. When we are alive now. When you look at the mirror, you do not see your soul. You see your body. What is your body? Your body is just a box. The outer box that has content inside. This is the soul. But the soul is not physical, therefore you could not see it in the mirror. I never saw your soul, my soul, any soul. No one see. Because if you expect to see it in your physical eyes, it's not the right tool. The physical senses are the good tools to connect us to the physical dimension in the universe. To realize the higher level, the non-physical, you need non-physical tools, which is the ability to think. But in the thinking, you just get it theoretically. You cannot really feel it, but it's real. It's not an illusion. Okay, there is such a thing. Now, what is the neshama? The soul, every soul, has three major states. Actually, five, but let's speak about the first three. Three major states. All souls in the world was created in the sixth day of the creation. All of them were included in the one soul that described in the verse that I just quoted before. ויצר השם אלוקים את האדם עפר מן האדמה ויפח באפיו נשמת חיים. This is the only soul, just a second, that Hashem created. This is the only soul. In this soul, the soul of Adam, was all the souls, was included in it, all the souls of all the descendants of Adam. How do we call it in Hebrew? Bnei Adam. That means that all the peoples in the world, Jews and non-Jews, are the children of children of children of children of children of Adam. Therefore, we call it Bnei Adam. So we are not just physically, by the DNA or by the... We are parents, and our parents has parents, and their parents have parents, until the first couple, Adam and Chava, not just the physical, but the spiritual also. Now, something happened, and I will mention this later, and that will relate also to reincarnation and other stuff, but all the souls of every human being is part of the neshama that was created in Adam in the sixth day of the creation and put in Adam. Okay?
I just wanted the source. Voracious, pasuk. That pasuk.
Oh, this pasuk is verse 7 of chapter 2 in Bereshis.
Okay,
Perek Bet pasuk zayin. Okay. So according to this, every soul in the world has three major states. State number one, the soul before it entered the body. State number two, since it's entered the body until it's leaves the body, when the soul is in the body. This is state number two. State number three, after the soul was in the body and separated the body. So those are the three states of each soul. State number three is when the neshama separates the body goes to the ground, the neshama goes to a place, be aware, called the place where the neshama goes after 120 in this world is not the world to come, is not the olam haba. It's the world of souls, olam haneshamot, the world of souls. This is not olam haba yet. Okay, let's start from state number one. As we mentioned before, Hashem created Adam and put in him a neshama, dust from earth and neshama. And now we're talking about Adam himself. Later on, this is chapter 2, verse 7. Later on in the same chapter, it says, "Vayomer Hashem Elokim lo tov heyot ha'adam levado." Now Adam is by himself. Hashem said, "No, it's not good. E'aseh lo ezer kenegdo. I have to create a female to him, whatever, ezer kenegdo." And it says that God put Adam into anesthesia, vayapel tardema al Adam, and he made an operation. And from the operation, he took part of him and created it to the body of Chava. So now we have Adam and Chava. What's missing? That's what the Torah described. Where the body of Chava came from, the body of Adam. But what about the soul of Chava? Not mentioned. Not mentioned in the Torah. In the simple level of the Torah. In the deepest level of the Torah, in the Kabbalah, it says the following, that Hashem didn't create a new soul for Chava. He took the same soul and divided it to two. The main part of it stayed by Adam, the female went to Chava. So it's not just the body of Chava was separated or took from Adam, but the neshama also. It's the same neshama, but half of it stayed by Adam, half was given to Chava. Now, there are two people. One neshama two bodies, two half neshamas. And that's what later on will be a soulmate, a notion called soulmate, later on in the history. Okay, now, just a second, when they perform the sin, God told them, if you will eat from this tree, you're going to die. So what happened? If we look at the psukim in the Torah, you will see it says over there, Arura Adama ba'avurecha. That was one of the implications of the punishment of Adam and Chava about the chet. Arura Adama ba'avurecha. The land, the ground will be cursed because of you. Be'itzavon tuchlena. You need to eat. You'll work very hard in order to take bread or take resources or food from the ground. Bezeat apecha tuchal lechem. Ad shuvcha el ha'adama. Until, and you will live until you'll die. And when you'll die, you will go down to the ground. Ki mimena lukachta. Because you were taken from the ground, so you're going to go back to the ground. And the pasuk says, "Ki mimena lukachta ki afar ata ve'el afar tashuv." Because you are dust, and you're going to go back to be a dust. Really? How the Torah could say that? Ki afar ata? You are dust? Yes, but it's only part of it. What about the soul? How? Why after the sin there is no? Hashem do not relate to the soul anymore, but he relate to a human being as a dust. Ki afar ata ve'el afar tashuv. Afar ata meaning this is your definition. You are dust. Therefore, you're going to be a dust. What about the soul? So one of the principles that you have to know is the Torah do not give us too much information in the simple level, the pshat level, about the spiritual entities in the world. It just mentioned them, like the Torah mentioned the word neshama, but the Torah didn't give us any further details. What is it? Because the Torah was given to us as a Torah, as instructions, directions, so the Torah emphasized the physical things. The spiritual things are not mentioned clearly in the simple level, just by the title, by the category. The details are in the hidden Torah. The Torah has the revealed part and the hidden part. Torah migle and Torah nistar. So the same way the neshama is hidden in the body, you cannot see it, but it's there. The information about it is not in the physical part, on the revealed part of the Torah, but in the hidden part, which is the Kabbalah, the secret. Over there are a lot of details about what the neshama is. Okay, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to understand the neshama when it was divided, then one is male and one is female. Is a neshama like male or female in and of itself? And what would that change the personality of Adam or Chava? Like what makes it uniquely feminine or masculine that it was originally one together?
True. Only male and female is more connected to the physical. The spiritual, I'm not sure about the levels of the neshama. It might be that it's the same, but it's called the female side or the male side, but it doesn't. The neshama is not influencing the personality of the male or the female as a male or as a female. We'll go about. Maybe we'll have time to relate to this later on because it's much more complicated. This is, you know what you asked. I'll just, in brief, will tell you. The neshama is not just one thing. The neshama has 5 levels. You probably knows about it. About the naran chai, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, v'yichida. It's 5 levels. And the part who connected to the body is the lower part, which is the nefesh. Then there is a ruach, neshama, chaya, and yichida. Those are the highest levels. Now, the difference between male and male and female is obviously in the body. It's also, there is an influence or manifestation of it in the nefesh, but not in the neshama.
So the nefesh is that what makes a personality?
Yes. Meaning, okay, I'm going now to things that I want to speak about later.
So maybe let's
Just-
put a semicolon on it and stick with what you
Yeah.
planned.
Yeah, I will, don't worry. I will go back to this, but I just said the following. If you take a human being, usually in psychology, general psychology, not Jewish, they divided a person to a body, or a physical, and I don't know how to say it in English. Yes, psychology, psycho, nefesh. Yes, goof, v'nefesh. Nefesh, no, that's not it.
An essence.
That's not it. What is this?
Psyche.
They call it the ego and the superego.
Right, okay. All of those, what psychology, when psychology use those terms, it relates not to the soul, but most of psychologists are atheists, or at least do not believe in a spiritual entity in the human being. The way they train to relate to a human being is as a body with I don't know, but not soul. It's not spiritual. It's I don't know how to say it. It's הכוחות הנפשיים, not the nefesh, which is the personality. So psychology try to relate to the characters. So the characters are part of this realm, which is not the physical, but they're not. In Judaism, there are three parts: the body, the soul, the physical, and the spiritual. And there is a connection between them, which is the nefesh. And over there are all the personality and the characters and the ego, the super ego, and all of this stuff. If they're true, they're there. They're in this. Okay.
Anima may be the term, maybe a close term, is from at the time of the Bible, not from our philosophy. It's what animates the person, and that's a larger umbrella for all the different psychological, if you will, aspects.
Right, but again, most psychologists are not taking in account, they do not know how to relate, and they do not take in account neshama.
That is accurate. I'm
That
a
there-
psychologist.
You are a psychologist, okay? I
It's
know.
accurate.
Yeah,
don't.
they do not. Therefore, they working in the air. They're completely lost. They're trying to make theories, and they do not know the material that in front of them. They do not know what a human being is. So it's a bunch of nonsense. בסך הכל, at the end. Anyways, the Torah give us again so we have the neshama and the body. Let's divide it this way now. For now, it's more complicated than this, but okay. Now, the Kabbalah revealed to us the following: that when Adam and Chava made the sin, when Hashem told them, if you will eat, you're gonna die. The death includes few things. Technically, physically, the body gonna be going back to its origin, to a part, afar tov el afar tashub. But this is only the body. What happened to the soul? So the Kabbalah says the following: that the neshama got damaged by the sin. The damage is very interesting. You cannot really damage a neshama. The neshama is too pure to be damaged. But there is something that we could call damage. And the explanation that was given is like it was exploded. 2 billion sparks, called by the words of the Kabbalah, nitzotzot nishmat Adam Harishon, the sparks of the neshama of Adam Harishon. So imagine something. We could imagine only physical things. So imagine something that exploded and went all over, and there are parts of it, particles of it, very, very small particles, sparks. If you will take all of them and put them back together, you will get the soul of the neshama of Adam Harishon. Now, what is the meaning that they exploded, and what happened to them? The impact of the sin made them damaged, spiritually damaged. And each spark was damaged in a different way. The Kabbalah told us that the entire history of the world is to fix this big damage. If you heard about the word tikkun, there is a tikkun. So there is tikkun of the universe, the tikkun of the human race, the tikkun of every human being. What is a tikkun? Tikkun is to fix.
To fix the damage.
Again, tikkun
Yeah,
is a fixing.
right.
Only things that damage need fixing. So it was a big damage, and there is now a big process of tikkun, of fixing. Now, what happened to each one of those particles? It stayed and wait until the time will come for it to go down. It's a spiritual part that's going to come back and go down to this world. And let me just quote another source in order to put this together. The source is from the Gemara in Masechet Kiddushin, Daf Lamed Amud Bet. Page 30, the second part of the page, says the Gemara the following. Tanu Rabbanan, Shlosha shutafim hem ba'adam. 3 partners are in every human being. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ve'aviv ve'imo. God, the father and the mother, are the 3 partners of every human being. And without even one of them, will be no human being. In every baby, in every fetus, there are 3 partners. The father and the mother, what's their roles? What they contribute? They contribute the DNA that build the body, the physical dimension. So, only Adam and Chava has no parents. Adam was created by Hashem himself, and Chava was taken from Adam. So, Adam and Chava doesn't have any father or mother. But since Hashem created Chava, and he told Adam, prove or multiply, the multiply is, I'm not going to make new human beings dust from earth. It will be the contribution of the father and the mother. So the father and the mother give something, and from this, the body is created. But those are only 2 out of the 3 partners. The soul, the neshama, we are not getting from our parents. The neshama we're getting from the 3rd partner, which is Hashem. And what is this neshama? The neshama of every human being in the world during the history is one of those particles or sparks that was part of the neshama of Adam HaRishon. So all those sparks, actually each one of them at its time, gonna be a soul for a human being. Now meanwhile, all those damaged, quote, sparks, waiting in Olam HaNeshamot, in the world of souls, until their time will come to go to this world. This is state number 1. When the soul is not connected to any body, right? It's just soul by itself, and it's in Olam HaNeshamot, waiting for its time to move to state number 2, when the neshama comes to the body. State number 2 is from the creating of the baby, from the beginning, by the way, from the conception, to 120, when the neshama separates the body. In this state, the neshama is in very, very interesting situation from its point of view, because the neshama is spiritual. And it comes to this physical world, and it's involved with the physical. Then, when the time comes that the neshama will separate the body, the neshama is again not connected to any physical things, and it goes back to Olam HaNeshamot. But Olam HaNeshamot divided to 2 groups. The neshamot, the souls, before they were in the physical body, and after. But it's all realm by itself called Olam HaNeshamot. Before and after. Only in between, the neshama is in here in this world. Okay.
Some were used, some are new, and some are used. When they go back after 120 years, some were new that were not designated to be used yet, and some were used.
Listen, in this thing, we should, and it's very complicated, we should edit the things about reincarnation. So there, but that will make it even more complicated. Let's,
Because you said there are two sections.
right. So let's speak now simple. Simple. In the simple way, there are 3 states. I'm not talking now about reincarnation, we'll edit later on. That will make it even more complicated. But right now, it's complicated enough. We have the neshama. Imagine, theoretically, the neshama is us and neshama. In state number 1, it's a soul. It never was in any body. Okay? This is state number 1. State number 2, the neshama is in a body. State number 3 is not in the body again after it was in the body. So theoretically, the neshama, when it separates the body, going back to the world of the neshamot, of the souls, waiting until Tchiyat HaMetim.
And they're only sparks. Those are all sparks.
It's a parable. It's a parable. Spark is a physical thing, you know.
That word is, what's the Hebrew term? Something that
Nitzotzot. Okay. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Both of you, one after another.
You know, if it's possible to have birth of Adam and Chava before the Chet, because then there's no explosion yet.
If it was possible, what?
For them to give birth before the Chet, because there's no explosion in the neshama.
You have good questions.
And is it complicated?
No, but there is something in the Medrash. You know, there is a Shiloh, there is a question. Cain and Hevel was born before or after the Chet. So in the Midrashim, there are two opinions. And it's not that simple. Probably it's after, but I don't know. I don't know how to say it. I don't know. It's a theoretical question. It's not practical. Yeah.
I know this is also complicated, but I was just wondering in what you're quoting from at this moment, at what moment does the soul in the soul family that it's waiting in, what determines its decision to come down to be born at that moment?
It's not the decision of the soul.
I know. So could you just say a little more about that?
Okay. Yeah. So, the thing is the following. Every soul, every spark, let's say, imagine, again, remember always that we're talking about physical example to spiritual things when there is no connection whatsoever between the physical and the spiritual, but we have to have some example that we can relate to.
You're calling
It's
it a
all
spark
spiritual.
now?
Sparks, okay. When the spark, each one of those sparks that damaged, quote, at the time of the sin, damaged differently. You know what, let's add to this another thing. Rabbi Chaim Vital was the disciple of the Ari HaKadosh. And he wrote all his books in Kabbalah. This is the major principle in the Kabbalah. So he said the following, that the same way in the body, there are 613 compartments or components. 613.
I think he calls
And
them
this is
organs.
not just by chance the number of the mitzvot. And it's divided to Ramach mitzvot aseh v'shasa mitzvot lo ta'aseh, which is the limbs and the Evarim v'gidim. So the same way in the physical body, we have 613 components. Same thing there is in the neshama. And the neshama is just a physical reflection. Actually, the body is the physical reflection of the neshama. Okay? Now, about the body, and here's a very sensitive thing. About the body we have to know. There are different limbs in the body, and each one of them is a limb. But there are differences between them. Let's say a finger is a limb, right? A heart is a limb. But there is a difference between them. What is it? People could live without a finger. People could not live without a heart. So there are things called Eivar she'haneshama tluya bo, a limb that needed for a person to exist. So it's not pleasant not to miss a finger or a hand, but you could live without it. But you could not live without your brain, or without your heart, or without your kidneys, right? So, when Adam and Chava made the sin, each one of their spiritual soul limbs got damaged. But the damage is different between the spiritual finger to the spiritual brain or the spiritual heart. So every spark has different role and different damage, and therefore a different mission how to fix this damage when the time to fix will come. According to this, God chose, Hashem chose which soul will go to which body. When in the history, where in the space, meaning in the ground, which place this baby will be born. But the soul is not given to the baby when the body is born, when the baby is born. Another source over here that mentioned in the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin b'daf Tzadik Aleph, Neshama nitenet ba'adam misha'at pkida. The soul is given to a baby, to a fetus, from the time of the conception. Let's go back to the source that I quoted before from Masechet Kiddushin. 3 partners in every human being, right? The father, the mother, and God. When the father and the mother become partners in this particular baby? In the time of the conception, right? Then they become partners. The third partners become a partner at the same time. There are 3 partners at the same time. Therefore, you have to know that the neshama was given to the baby in the first day of the 9th month. And of course, there are many implications to this, especially about the hot topic in America, about abortion, you know. So, Judaism and Christianity copy us with this, like they copy us with everything. Believe that stopping a pregnancy, even in day 1, it's a murder. There are, of course, exceptions. If the mother is going to be in dangers because she is alive already, actually alive, and this is a potential life, there are priorities. But basically, the neshama is there since day 1. The 3 partners become partners in the same moment. Now, who decide which neshama go to his body? Not the father, not the mother, and not the neshama. And that's a mistake, because you know in the Far East, they're talking about karma, they think that the neshama decide. The neshama decide nothing. If it's up to the neshama will never want to see this terrible place called this world. It's not fit her at all. For her, it's an exile. She's going to a place that's so against, everything here is so against what the essence of the neshama is. So if it's up to her, she will never see this world. The neshama was forced by God to be here. And God will decide who, what, if that neshama will be in the body of a Jew, a non-Jew, a male, a female. And another thing that we have to know, according to Judaism, I'm sorry to inform you if you have animals that you like, only human beings has neshama. Only human beings. And if you heard that a cat has 7 souls, that's in India, not here, not in the world, not in the reality. It's in the imagination of the Indians. Neshama, and neshama is not the power of life. Power of life, every animal has. And actually, every plant has. Because without it, it will be a dead plant, right? So the power of life is different. People mix all of this. It's all mishmash, big mishmash, and big salad. And the time is to clarify this. According to Judaism, every human being only has a neshama. And every human being, Jews and non-Jews, have a neshama. And if you heard different, it's wrong. I'm telling you the truth. Every human being has a neshama. There are differences between the not the quality, but the levels of the neshama. There is a difference. And actually this is the only difference between a Jew and non-Jew. In the body, there is no difference. You could take a heart from some non-Jew or Jew and put in Jew or non-Jew. It will not make this Jewish or not Jewish. And it's the same heart and the same kidneys and the physical is the same. It's only the spiritual that, by the way, makes those who has higher neshamas more obligated to behave. That's the only thing. But there are differences between the neshamas, but every human being has a neshama. And it's more complicated because there are Jews and non-Jews, but there are a third kind of neshamas. It's called nishmot hagerim. And the Zohar speaks about this, that there are three kinds of neshama: a Jewish soul, a non-Jewish soul, and a converted soul. The meaning of this, if the mother, and why it's the mother, it's also another topic by itself, but it's the mother. You know what, I'll tell you why. Because the partnership between the father and the mother, that the mother is the one who keeps the baby. The father is giving, but he's going away. She's stuck with the baby for 9 months, right? She's cooking it, and she delivered it. So when you have three partners that they have a treasure, one of them has the merit to keep the treasure. Okay? You see, one partner gives something, but he's going after that. The partner who holds it is the mother. So because the mother is the one who holds the body of the baby, the contribution of the father is by her, and the contribution of God is also by her. Therefore, the thing that will decide if this baby is Jewish or not Jewish, meaning if the neshama was given to the mother, therefore it's important who is the mother. Okay? Okay. I know this topic is so, it's hard to give information without all the questions in between, but you know what, it will obligate us to extend it to more than 4 sessions. And that will make the life of Esther a little bit harder. Yeah, okay.
Yes, so my question is, like you said, that a Jewish mother is going to have a Jewish child, right?
Uh-huh.
But what about if that baby is a product of a mixed marriage? Is the neshama of the Jewish baby more damaged than
No,
a baby from
no,
a
no.
Jewish father and a Jewish mother? Or
No, it's up to the mother. If the mother is Jewish, the baby is getting a Jewish neshama
right,
completely. Even though it's better for the baby psychologically,
right.
That-
The genetics
that
is going
right,
to
and that the father will be also Jewish. Okay, but I just was in the middle. There are Jewish souls, which is in the level that obligate them more. Therefore, the difference between Jews and non-Jews in the obligations, human obligations, are the 7 mitzvot of Bnei Noach, but for us it's not enough, we need 613. Because the demand from higher level neshamas is higher. So this needs explanation, but not now. The other thing is a third group of neshamot called nishmot hagerim, the neshama of the converted one. And there is something amazing about that. First of all, those souls never born with the baby. The baby was born non-Jewish. Later on in their life, him or her, he will decide or she will decide that she or he wants to convert. When the conversion is in the right process, meaning why you want to convert. You know, when a non-Jew comes to convert, we tell him, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth for you. Think careful before you do it. Because right now, with the 7 mitzvahs, you're okay. If you'll be Jewish, it will obligate you so much. Are you ready for it? Do you really want it? If he will say or she will say yes, when they understand what they're taking on themselves, and they will do the process in the right way, something unbelievable happening at the end of the process of the conversion when they go to the mikveh for for being Jewish. And if it's a female, it's only the mikveh. If it's a male, it's a circumcision and going to the mikveh. But in both cases, when they go to the mikveh, they go in. When they come out of it, there isn't. The Zohar says that there is a transformation in their neshama. Their goyish neshama is replaced by a new neshama, which is one of those special neshamas called nishmot hagerim. And this person is going to have a new neshama. New neshama is a new person, and those neshamas are very special neshamas. We pray for them every Shmoneh Esrei when he speaks about לצדיקים ולחסידים ועל גרי הצדק. גרי הצדק, you know, in our history we know great people like Shmaya ואבטליון, like Unkelos, great tzaddikim that was gerei tzedek, but gerei tzedek meaning not a fake converter, but a real converter. So those are, in general, those three groups of souls. Jewish souls, and we didn't explain this is much later, what's the difference between Jewish souls and non-Jewish souls, a sensitive issue, but there are many interesting details that we should know about it later on in this series. Okay, we covered much less than I thought in the first one, but we will do what we could do. Okay, so next week, Bezrat Hashem will continue from this point.